times anymore, where you have people in such abject poverty that it's everywhere. It's not like that in America, and so there's quite a bit less of attention paid to those things, and so by lying about a particular story, you can call attention to it and build that, I guess that ire, that sort of thing that Dickens actually did stir up about real cases in his fictional accounts, but these are not masquerading. These are fictional accounts masquerading as the truth. A second reason, he says, painless mendacity. And this is an important one, because who pays the price when Lena Dunham lies about or makes up a story maybe about whether she was raped or not at college? Who's going to pay the price for that? And then when you look at Al Sharpton, Tawana Brawley, did he pay a price for that? You look at all these cases, the people who lie have no downside to doing so. So it's fine for them in their minds to go ahead and
they actually have quite upside. They have quite an upside in lying, and you're right, it is painless.
Absolutely. The third reason is whose truth? Because we're getting everyone into that objectivist thinking and or nothing is subjective thinking, nothing is an objective truth, then it doesn't matter, because that lie doesn't really count because it's true somewhere. And so this is where these things that are lies are standing for a truth somewhere that we know, but we can't maybe find a case or a proof of it, so we'll make one up, and therefore this is like the false racism accusations, the hate crimes on particular campuses, things that are ginned up like that. It's because it is true, we just can't prove it's true, so we're going to make one up to prove the truth of the thing we know is true.
It's true somewhere, so this fake story is going to represent that it's true somewhere, and it's not falsifiable, because if the only truth in my story is that it's true for someone, and this is speaking to a larger truth, there's no way that you can use any kind of evidence to discredit me. It's absolutely the opposite of science and logic.
Yes. And in the quote that Victor Davis Hanson says that I just thought was amazing, truth is what is deemed socially useful. And you put that in context with all the things, all the issues we'll be talking about today. That is powerful. The fourth reason he gives is useful distraction. So, and this we've seen over and over, we just probably haven't recognized it as such. If you have people in the streets over an issue on this side, it's very likely that there's a larger problem over here that's related, but that nobody wants to talk about. And therefore, this is the place they're going to put their effort, because that is what's simple for people to exploit and use for their purposes, whereas the other issue, which is related, might have more complex causes, more deep consideration to be dealt with. If you're talking, say, the breakdown of the family in minority communities versus what white cop, black man interaction would be, there are two separate issues. They're somewhat related, but all the energy is going toward the one that has the more rare occurrence, because the difficult conversation is on the other side. I just thought that was a fascinating analysis of why liberal and progressive people that try to push these narratives do so with lies. I think everyone should read that. It is a huge assistance to understanding where and why they're coming from that.
Well, and as you were saying earlier, there's no consequence. I think part of this also comes from a society. I'm sorry if this is going to get a little bit of a bunny trail here, a little bit off track, but this comes from a society which has no loser pays law. Okay, you've got the entire legal system has become a lottery. You can sue anybody you want, lie about anybody you want, go after anyone you want, and if the cost of defending themselves is too much, they'll settle out of court, or maybe you'll win. But here's the beauty. Yeah, lawfare, I love it. Here's the beauty. You lose, no cost. You don't take a risk. And you see, this is actually much better than the lottery because you don't have to pay for the ticket. You don't even have to pay for the ticket, and you might hit the lottery. That is our current legal system, which, by the way, is the number one thing driving up medical costs. And that I believe that has also created an entire field within the country, because now we got young generations that have all grown up in this legal system. And I believe, having been bathed in that mindset, we now have a country full of people who basically think that they can use accusations as a weapon with no consequence. And that is unbelievably destructive to our country.
Yeah, and those legal professionals who are being raised up through the system, as a part of this whole lies and somebody else's truth, the story about the guys who are asking for a extension on their tests on their exams because
I'm so glad you went there on that. Yes,
because they're emotionally distraught over the Michael Brown case.
Yeah. Okay. What you're saying is that Columbia Law School, Harvard Law School, and one of the other big law schools,
it's mind-blowing.
They are granting their students an extension on time to take their finals because the students are claiming that they are so distraught over the Michael Brown and Eric Garner case. Think about that, people. These are like fourth-year law students. These are 22 and 23-year-old adults that are claiming that some legal process that happened to someone else entirely in an entire other state is affecting them to such an extent that they cannot study for and take a test in their chosen profession. Would you ever hire that person? Because if anything slightly strenuous happens, oh my God, they need their fainting couch. What a bunch of weenies.
And also, you don't want any person who would even use that excuse is a lawsuit waiting to happen in your business.
God, no kidding.
You don't want anybody like that. You don't want, look, I got to be honest. I don't want any liberals in the workplace. They do all the suing. They make all the complaints. No, I'm serious. And those very few times where they're actually right and they're not lying, are crying wolf, because it's almost impossible to fire a liberal. You can fire a conservative for anything. You can fire a conservative because your food didn't agree with you at breakfast. You can fire a conservative for anything. It's just fun to fire conservatives. It's actually a sport now in several states. But you cannot, firing a liberal, good luck. It's lawsuits. It's no matter what group they're part of, they're going to use that. It's awful. And then you add to this that you've got somebody who's going to use this to try to delay tests and stuff like that. That means that they're always going to be aggrieved. No, I wouldn't hire them. I wouldn't go near them.
And it is again the lack of repercussions for anything they do. These people are so willing to cloak themselves in the mantle of victimhood. It doesn't even bother them to claim weakness or being victimized of something. I was raised that as a woman, I was as strong as any man, and I refused to be a victim. To me, feminism is not being a victim. And today's feminist is always a victim of everything. Apparently, it's become somehow a strength to be a victim, and it's a part of a larger truth to be a liar. And because there's no repercussions for pushing for any kind of advantage you can get, you might as well do it because the end justifies the mean. I mean, we're in a completely upside down world morally and ethically, and I don't even understand it. And I don't know how we get out of it.
Well, and it's been an irritant to me for years, too, about that flip with the feminists and that double standard, that women can do anything that men can do, and except they can't deal with some particular issues that send them into fits of rage or sobbing in the corner. It's insane, but what it seems to me is that feminism has now not become about the championing of what you can do and what you are able to do, but what you are entitled to do, and that other people should allow you to do regardless of your ability.
And what you
it's
can
like
get for complaining about stuff?
Yeah, it's the easier way to gain a position or gain relevance or significance rather than accomplishing something. It's slapping the label of feminism on yourself and proclaiming that means people start bowing and scraping over particular issues.
Well, it's become better to protest than to produce. You know, and it's really disgusting. And I don't understand it. I really don't. Because to be honest, if I look back at my work career, overall, the best people I've worked with, the ones who were most impressive at their jobs, I would have to say most of them were women. Okay? Many of them were liberal. I couldn't care less what your ideology is when you work and all that. It means nothing to me. If you're great at your job, you're great at your job. I want you promoted. I want you making all the money and getting all the power. Good for you. But it's gotten to a point where, you know, I don't know about women so much, but liberals, they're just too dangerous to work with. They're too dangerous. No, I'm serious. I hear this constantly from friends that in the workplace that liberals are just constant. You know, you have some who aren't this way, of course, who are just there to work, of course. But that's virtually all conservatives. There are virtually no conservatives on the prowl looking to see who they can get in trouble, looking to see how they can complain, looking to see what complaint they can file, looking to see how they can undermine the company or the boss or their coworker or whatever. It's almost all liberals. I'm not kidding.
No, you're right. And it's this culture of the left building its coalition around a grievance union. Everything is about supporting each other's causes, each other's, you know, eliminating those irritants. It's not even injustices anymore. In a lot of cases, it's just stuff that irritates leftists, and they want to do away with it by building that coalition of grievance.
Yeah, one of the wonderful things about being a conservative is it is not illegal to offend me. Go ahead. And
you've offended probably, I don't know, tens of people already today, so.
Rob in the chat is ready to sue you already.
Go, Rob.
How am I doing? Yeah, it's just, you know, it is like it is a crime to offend a liberal. It really is. It's unbelievable. I get offended all the time because nobody cares, you know, and why? Because I'm safe.
Yeah. It is out of control. The only thing, and Fisher was talking about the grievance union, is that there is some dissension in the ranks, and it's pretty clear as the grievance union as a whole becomes more powerful. It also is there are factions that are collapsing in on themselves that don't like each other very much, and there are several examples of this out there that you can check out. Feminists and transgender activists are not really the best friends. Just lots of interesting developments over on that side of things, but hopefully those divisions will continue and hurt eventually get to a point where people realize that being offended is something that you have to deal with. I mean, that's it. It's going to happen. You can't just stay, you know, in a bubble for your entire life.
Right. I think this is great, too. Matt Vespa put a piece out on Town Hall today, sort of kind of talking about the media's bad week. And it's a little bit illustrative. All the things that we talked about that were going wrong, Rolling Stone getting the University of Virginia rape story so misreported and wrong, or at least not checked, not even basic fact-checking and vetting. And then you had all these things of, other stories that have come along. We've got the Gruber thing. That's not going well for him. The media over at the New Republic has had a huge shakeup among the original type of journalism and reporting that they wanted to do versus Chris Hayes and his newfangled, online digital media dominance that he wants to start. That's not having a very good opportunity for them to Go Forward, that's being reported heavily on National Public Radio as well, by the way. And then there's some other people doing things